Hi, my name is Alicia Benz, and today I'm going to be talking about the movie Hot Summer Nights, which was written and produced by Elijah Bynum in 2018. Now, this movie starts off with a young boy narrating, and you see a car driving down a highway. It's raining, you see lots of lights flashing, there's sirens you hear, and it's raining super, super badly. The camera zooms in on the car and you see a young boy, well, a teenager driving, and as he's going underneath one of the streetlights, he ends up getting hit, the car flips, and then the camera cuts and sends you back to like the beginning of the movie. So then the young narrator starts talking about who the guy in the car was. His name was Daniel. He was 17, and at a young age, 17, his dad dies, which sent him into a deep depression, and he didn't know how to deal with it, so he kind of just did nothing and kind of just felt unmotivated to do everything. So his mom, being a single mom in the 90s, kind of was struggling to figure out how to help him, and so she ended up sending him away to live with his aunt in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Now, it being the 90s, there was a lot of drugs circling the area, and everyone was high all the time, everyone was on something. Daniel was pretty innocent before he got to Cape Cod, so the next scene is just him sitting in a diner, and he's just kind of hanging out, and he feels invisible to everybody because he's not someone from the town, so he doesn't have friends in town, and then he's also not somebody just visiting, so it's not like he's not really anything special. He's kind of just there in like a weird middle ground. Now, the town has people called townies, which are people that live in the town and grew up there and stuff, and like that's their home. And then they have summerbirds, which would be the more rich side that comes and like visits and kind of like vacations in the area. And because he was like in the middle ground, he felt kind of invisible and unimportant because he couldn't fit into either one of those categories, so people are like, what even, like, what are you? He ends up going to a party and everybody's smoking, people are drinking, doing cocaine, the normal, and they're all just hanging out, and he's seen like awkwardly on the side until he sees this guy drive up in a car with girls in the car as well, and his name is Hunter Strawberry. Hunter Strawberry is a very important character because he shows Daniel what kind of life you can live in that town when you're kind of just born as a nobody. Now, Hunter Strawberry is like the best thing about that town, or like the hottest person there in everyone else's eyes. Like, everybody knows him, everyone thinks he's super cool, but like you don't really want to be close to him because he's kind of dangerous in a way, because he is the town drug dealer. And so Daniel becomes friends with him, and Hunter Strawberry kind of exposes Daniel to this life of drugs and and invites him and his life of drugs. And with that, he kind of invites him into kind of takes him under his wing in a way. So Hunter Strawberry kind of takes him under his wing in a way and gives him, or becomes Daniel's friend, because that's what he needed at the time. And Daniel, being friends with like the town drug dealer, he was around drugs a lot, and he decided that taking Daniel under his wing in a way and giving him the friend that he knows he needs, but also you can't just think that it's just out of kindness. There has to be an underlying motive for him being friends with the quiet person that nobody really talks to, and especially somebody that's new like Daniel is. Now, Hunter Strawberry is known as the town drug dealer. Everybody knows him. Everybody buys everything from him. Like, he's your go-to guy. Like, if you need anything, like, he's got it. So he isn't liked by everybody, but everybody wants something from him all the time. So he's popular, but not for the right reasons. And everybody that likes him or whatever, they don't really like him. They just want something out of him. And so that puts him in a place of distrust towards most people. So I think that also him being friends with somebody that's new, it kind of is like a fresh start. So maybe it is somebody that will actually care about him and benefit his life and not just want something from him. Now, Daniel and Hunter Strawberry quickly become friends, and Hunter introduces him to marijuana and drugs and just like this life that Daniel hasn't been exposed to before, and it's just something new for him to kind of explore. But he quickly realizes that there is money in dealing drugs and everything, but there's also, it is very dangerous and it can be very unsafe at times. Him realizing the money that factors in is definitely an eye-opener for him, and he decides that he wants to start dealing with Hunter. Now, you wouldn't really expect him to be a drug dealer because he's this scrawny little white boy and he's kind of innocent and pretty quiet looking, so you wouldn't think anything of him dealing drugs. He makes a ton of money selling and everything and ends up buying a car. And he's kind of on this high because they're making so much money and they're both really good salesmen apparently and just like are killing it. So he's like on this high and like nobody's gonna stop him and kind of like feeling like he's invisible. And he meets this girl and her name is Michaela, who is actually Hunter Strawberry's younger sister. And he's kind of in awe of her in a way because she's so different from other people that he's met so far. She really doesn't care what anyone thinks, but everybody likes her, everyone's obsessed with her, all the guys think she's like the best thing in the world. Like, she's it. Like, if you can get her, then like you're good, like you got anybody. And so her making friends with him is just kind of surprising because she is attractive and everyone's in love with her, so he kind of just like doesn't expect it. Okay, he doesn't expect it. After getting his super cool car, he goes and gets Michaela and like tries his best to get her. And he ends up telling Hunter about meeting this girl and driving her home and how he thinks she's the coolest ever and just that he really, really likes her and everything. And Hunter kind of figures out that it's actually his sister that he's talking about, and Daniel didn't know before Hunter said something, but as soon as Hunter found out, he was like, don't do that, like that's my sister, like she's like, that's off limits, like you can't do that. And Daniel's like, okay, whatever, like it's fine. But little does he know that he's not just gonna give her up that easily. So Daniel ends up seeing Michaela behind Hunter's back, and everything's fine. Michaela's kind of distrusting to people that are involved in drugs because of her brother, so Daniel doesn't tell her that he, one, knows her brother, and then also is dealing as well with his brother, or with her brother. So there is definitely a good amount of lies going on in their relationship or whatever it is, but for now they're having a good time and they both really like each other and just like exploring what's there and such. But as Hunter and Daniel are dealing, they kind of get even more money hungry because they're like, if we can sell all these little amounts of everything, then why don't we just buy everything in bulk and like sell a ton of everything, because people are like running out of whatever they're buying and coming back for more anyways, so might as well just sell them larger amounts and make more money off of them. And this higher up drug dealer, I guess you could say, picks them both up like on the side of the road and kind of like throws them to a van, and they take them out to lunch and they're like, hey, we want you to sell for us. They definitely said it in a more aggressive way than how I'm explaining it, but they're like, hey, we want you to sell for us, and we're going to give you this amount of weed, and if you can flip it, then we can continue doing this. You get to keep whatever money like you make off of it, but as long as like we get a certain percentage of it. And so they both agree to it because it's an easy way to make more money. Hunter's a little bit standoffish just because he knows that getting involved with a drug dealer that is much bigger and is like used to everything is definitely a dangerous move, just because if you mess up or get caught stealing or you sell something wrong or do something wrong, then it can cost you a lot, which they find out later. So after meeting the drug dealer, his name is Dangerous Dex, and after dealing with them for a little bit, they make a ton of more money. So much money. So they're both making all this money. Daniel is using it to buy whatever he wants, save up whatever, and Hunter is using it to kind of support his little auto mechanic shop. So, because Daniel is lying to Hunter about dating his sister, it doesn't set them up for a very good friendship in a way, just because when you're doing something so big, like someone tells you like that's not cool with them, then you kind of should just like respect what they say, but Daniel apparently didn't think that was how he wanted to do it. So Hunter eventually finds out about Michaela, and Michaela finds out that Daniel knows Hunter and that he's actually dealing with him, and that kind of throws Michaela's and Daniel's relationship away, and it just messed everything up in her mind, so she felt like she couldn't trust him, and it kind of just like freaked her out and everything. So, but Daniel losing somebody he cares about in a way, kind of, it didn't sit right with him, so he tried his best to like get back with her. So after things are like kind of going down the drain, like Michaela's kind of gone away for a little bit, Daniel gets a little bit too ambitious and meets up with one of the drug dealers to buy coke so that they could start selling coke and everything. And the drug dealer's like, hey, like, you know, you're not supposed to be here. If your boss found out you were buying from me, he'd have you killed. Like, you know this isn't a good idea. That's not good. You shouldn't be doing this. Hunter already was like, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that would be a smart move. And so Daniel's kind of alone in this, but he already knows he's gonna get in trouble, so he starts like freaking out, and he's like, don't tell my boss or whatever, like don't tell him that I tried to buy from you, like that's not good, like you're gonna get me killed, like please don't do it, like I know I messed up and everything. Now everybody feels lied to, everybody feels led on, everybody's kind of distanced each other from each other. Hunter isn't really super close with Daniel anymore because Daniel lied about dating his sister, and Michaela feels like she can't trust Daniel, and Hunter and Michaela aren't even close because they don't agree with what each other are like choosing to do with their own lives. So then Dex, the drug dealer, their boss, found out what Daniel was trying to do, and he was trying to buy coke from another person, and so he was really mad, like he wasn't happy about it whatsoever. So he went to go look for Daniel and found Hunter instead. And while Dex was looking for Daniel but was with Hunter, Daniel decides that he's gotta go, like he's gotta dip, he's gotta leave town. It's not a good move, like he can't stay here anymore. and he's just ready to leave. Like, he can't do it. The Dex is gonna come after him. He's gonna get killed. So he starts leaving town. And during this, Hurricane Bob is happening, and so it's raining and it's really bad, and there's sirens everywhere. And while Daniel's leaving town, Michaela starts running away too, because she knows she can't stay in the town because her brother, and she feels lied to, and she just needs to escape and get a fresh start so that she feels new again and kind of like rebuild who she is as a person. So the hurricane ends up destroying everything, and Dex ends up killing Hunter because Hunter wouldn't tell him where Daniel was. And Daniel was trying to leave town, but then he crashed his car after somebody ran into him. And he jumps out of the car, somehow isn't dead, and starts running around. Like, he runs to Michaela's house and is trying to find Michaela, but she's not there because she's already gone on a bus out of town, ready to leave and start over. And Daniel, like, realizing that she's gone and Hunter is gone, he kind of just feels like alone and pretty scared, so he doesn't really know what to do. So he ends up just leaving town as well, just like grabbing whatever he can, just like he's gone, like he's leaving town. Hunter's dead all by himself, and it's kind of sad because, like, he ended up, like, he tried to have a friend and he made friends with Daniel, but then he ended up alone. Everybody ended up alone. And then the boy narrator comes back and he's talking about Michaela leaving and Daniel leaving and Hunter dying alone. And it ends up being a 13-year-old boy who just lived in the town, so kind of saw stuff happen from a distance, but didn't really know exact details of what happened and everything. And then the closing scene is an aftermath of the Cape Cod and the hurricane, and just like how it destroyed everything. And even though it destroyed everything, people were still happy in a way and were happy that they survived, and they went through a lot, but like they're strong, so like they survived, so they're okay. And then you see Daniel driving down a long road in the desert on a motorcycle. And he just driving to find a new life. Michaela's gone. Hunter's dead. It's just, everyone ended up alone in the end. Now, I would say this movie is definitely like the average art hose kind of movie. It has a lot of dry humor. It's super aesthetically pleasing. Like, it's gorgeous. It's shot really, really nicely. It kind of shows the way that, like, the lower class is viewed from, but like it's still dramatized because it's a movie, but it's showing how, like, the rich summer birds and everything kind of come in and feel like they own the town and kind of like take over, and like they buy drugs from like the people that are like lower class or whatever, but they still kind of like, they don't respect them, but they still use them in a way, and so like they look down on them, but like they're doing the same stuff, but because they have more money, it doesn't make sense, but that's just how it works. The soundtrack to this movie is incredible. I am obsessed with it. I think it's so beautiful. It's super, super good. And the acting, honestly, it could have been better. It was pretty good. I feel like Timothée Chalamet kind of carried the whole entire movie with his acting. Everyone else definitely could have worked on it some. But I think like something the movie kind of struggled with was like there was a big misrepresentation of the effects of drugs, I would say. Like, it kind of dramatizes everything, and I know it's a movie, so it has to, but it was just a little bit over the top at times, honestly. And there was a bunch of weak character development. Like, I feel like they could have gone way deeper into different characters and kind of like talked about where they came from a little bit more and what made them into who they are. And yeah, that's my movie review. Thanks for watching.